Welcome back to StabtheDragon Productions for episode number 140 as we continue to examine the Texas Rye Whiskeys. This is the Texas Rye Whiskey Tournament, bracket number 2, and tonight we start the Elite 8, or the second round of comparisons. Started off with 16 Texas Ryes, now we're down to 8. This tournament is structured so that the lower proof whiskeys compete against each other at the start, at the first half of the bracket. And the higher proofs compete against themselves. Okay, and then they kind of merge together. Tonight we've got 2 rye whiskeys that each won their first round match, obviously, if they're in the Elite 8. Acre Texas Rye coming in at 80 proof. And then we've got Leadslingers Fighting Spirit Rye coming in at 90 proof. Just the facts. Acre Texas Rye comes from the Acre Distillery in downtown Fort Worth, the Hell's Half Acre district of Fort Worth, with its historic ties to the 19th century, early 20th century, the cattle drives, the railroad, saloons, brothels, gambling halls, outlaws, cowboys, oilmen, railroad men, all that stuff. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Here's a book detailing the seedy history of Hell's Half Acre in Fort Worth. The distillery started in 2015 when Tony Formby left Rye Brewery in Fort Worth. And Rye Brothers is one of my favorite beers. Certainly, they make great beers here in Fort Worth. And in 2015, he decided, well, I'm going to start a craft distillery. So that's where Acre got its start. And he's located there in Hell's Half Acre. In bracket number 1, Acre lost in the first round to Blackland 83 proof, another Fort Worth product. And Blackland went on to win the whole tournament. But in bracket 1, I was looking for that clean, pure rye flavor. Now in bracket 2, I'm looking simply at which whiskey I think I would drink 3 times out of 5. And that means, well, there's 2 types of Texas rye whiskeys. 2 types of whiskeys in Texas. One is aged in the climate, one is aged in a climate-controlled warehouse. And so the whiskeys that are exposed to the climate have got that Texas funk. It's a result of the extreme climate interacting with the wood of the barrel, the char level, and it gives the whiskeys a real funky flavor. I mean, it tastes smoky, it tastes woody, and a lot of people really don't like that. I happen to love it. And so what's happening in this bracket now that I'm focusing strictly on which one do I like the best, it seems to give an advantage to those more funky Texas whiskeys. So that's what's going on with bracket number 2, and that's why, the rule change affects the outcomes. So Acre won the first round this time around, and beat out the whiskey that beat it the first time around. So here you go. We can only, when we're looking at Acre Texas Rye, you can only buy it at the distillery. For whatever reason, it's not out in the liquor stores, and that's a shame because this is really a darn good whiskey. I mean, this is a favorite. Okay, it rates up there to me close to Balcones, even though it's only an 80 proof. At the distillery, it costs $39. Its mash bill, it does have rye and barley that are all from Texas, malted and milled here in Fort Worth. It's aged for a minimum of 2 years in charred New American oak, and again is definitely exposed to the Texas climate. Now, what about Leadslingers Fighting Spirit Rye? I call this an almost Texas whiskey or an ought-to-be Texas whiskey because it comes to us from Scissortail Distillery in Moore, Oklahoma. Scissortail is one of only a couple of distilleries that I know about in Oklahoma, and it's Scissortail's contracted or has a business arrangement with Leadslingers that was founded by Army Ranger veteran Matt Best from Texas of Black Rifle Coffee fame. I've got his book somewhere here. Yeah, here's Matt Best, and you maybe have heard of him. Black Rifle Coffee, I'm sure you've heard of. Article 15 clothing, and he does funny videos online, definitely. So he and 6 other special ops veterans from the war joined together and started this whiskey company. And they seek to honor veterans, support the police, support the Second Amendment communities. This whiskey won its first match in bracket number 1, but then lost to Herman Marshall 92 proof in the second round. And in bracket 2, this whiskey started off by beating Lockwood Rye. This rye then has that pure, clean, spicy rye flavor that I love so much. But man, do I like it better than the Texas Funk? I don't know. This is going to be a tough competition tonight. I don't know what the mash bill is for Leadslingers. I couldn't find any information online other than this. I've seen that what Scissortail does is they have some kind of a fast aging technique where they start off, in bigger barrels. I heard 15, and then they move down to 5-gallon barrels. Okay, 15 gallon to 5 gallon. And that speeds up the aging process. There's no age statement on here. And then somewhere else I've seen that it's aged for under a year. But if you can get this quality of whiskey out in under a year, that's amazing. And the fact that it doesn't have the funk, and Oklahoma is just as hot as Fort Worth. I don't know how they do it. Okay, they're doing something, but it's wonderful because this is a great whiskey. This is my second bottle of this, and it's getting down. I'm gonna have to finish it here soon. But so yeah, that's one of the few bottles that I have had repeat purchases of. So anyway, I researched online to where to find this. Now I've bought mine at Specs, and I was pretty sure it was also available at Total Wine, but none of the websites have it listed. Goody Goody doesn't, Specs doesn't, Total Wine doesn't. But I know that I've seen it at least a couple of stores. So I don't know. Liquor store websites are notoriously bad. Okay, so let's compare bottle and packaging. Okay, you've got Acre with the plain round bottle and the very plain label. So obviously they've not invested a whole lot into that. Leadslingers, on the other hand, has an iconic photo from U.S. Marine Corps in World War II in the Pacific. And in the back, I don't know if you can see it, but see, this is why it's an almost Texas whiskey. In the back, can you see that come and take it flag? It says it right there. It's kind of hard to see, but I mean, it's in there, and that's a Texas icon. And so you've got something from Texas going on with the bottle, and that's Matt Best because he's a Texan. So as far as bottles go, as soon as I saw the Leadslinger bottle in the store, I started researching it to see what was going on with that, and I bought it pretty quickly. So yeah, marketing happens and it works. So advantage to Leadslingers for the bottle. But let's look more closely at the whiskey here in the glass. I did not even try to mix these glasses up because I know my whiskeys, and this dark one is Acre. The lighter one is Leadslinger. So it's not even close. So I tend to prefer darker whiskeys. So whereas Leadslinger wins the bottle, Acre wins the visual appearance, without a doubt. Now let's move on to the nose. And so I'll start with the 80 proof Acre. Immediately, I get some of that Texas funk, some sweet caramel, I'm not really getting much in the rye. There's something spicy there, but see, the Texas funk really takes over, and it's a very nice aroma. I mean, you know, if you don't like the Texas funk, I guess I understand, but I happen to really like it, and boy, that's just amazing. Okay, readjust my smeller. My nose is not that great. I've had some sinus trouble. All right, so let's go in for the lead slingers. Immediately, I get rye. That rye spice is there. Now, it's not the rye bread. I've only gotten that very rarely. But the anise smell, licorice smell, anise, how do you say that? Yeah, so this has a very pretty rye smell. Lovely. And so both of these are great on the nose. How in the world can I decide between the two? I don't know. I'm going to put that down to a tie. On the nose, see, this is the difficulty. You've got two different types of ryes, and both of these are great on the nose. So, I don't know. That's going to be a tie. So let's move to taste. And, you know, I don't know. Should I go with the 90 proof or the 80 proof? I always go with the lower proof. But because this has the Texas funk, this is going to really take over my palate. Dang. That is just awesome. You get some tobacco notes on the tail end of that. Caramel notes. I mean, the rye spice is there a little bit in the back of the palate. But in the front end, all I'm getting is that rich Texas funk. I mean, it's sweet, but you got that char, the oak, leathery, tobacco, maybe some chocolates going on there. Yeah, I mean that's just amazing. And then on the finish lingers and lingers. When you're getting all those same notes. I mean, this starts off strong. The finish is long lasting and strong. All those flavors are just carrying on. And this is 80 proof. Oh my gosh. I wish they would make this at a 86 or a 90 proof. But I mean, as an 80 proof, that's just amazing. All right, I'm going to have to clean my palate with the Topo Chico. Very good. Well, try again. Even after Topo Chico, carbonated Mexican belching water here. After that, I'm still tasting the Acre Rye. Even after that. Wow. All right, let's move on to Lead Slingers. And again, Lead Slingers is one of my favorites. I mean, this is, like I said, I'm on my second bottle and it's almost done. I will always keep Lead Slingers around. Lead Slingers is that high on my list that I will, as soon as this bottle's done, I will replace it. So here we go. Evergreen, fir tree, pine trees, something like that, flowery, rye spice, maybe some vanilla hints there. But on the back end, on the finish, a little bit of wood maybe, but nowhere near as strong of a finish and rich flavor as the Acre. And see, having Acre first might have ruined my palate for Leadslingers. And that's why I kind of thought maybe I should have Leadslingers first. That's just a marvelous whiskey. You know, but again, we're looking at two very different whiskeys here. So the finish was still pretty long on the Leadslingers. And it's the rye finish. It's the pine needles finish. That's lingering. So it's a little bit floral, herbal. Yeah, this is a great whiskey again. And it's now lingering. See that second drink. By that time, I think my palate had readjusted. So I'm getting a long finish now on the Leadslingers too. And again, it's just 90 proof. I mean, there's a lot of guys who spend all their time and money on high proof whiskeys, and great, you know, good for them. But down here at the low end, I really appreciate these lower proof whiskeys. All right, it's time to determine a winner. Which one would I drink 3 out of 5 times? And I'm going to have to go with Acre for the win. This is an amazing whiskey, and I do not know why they don't market this in the stores. I have no idea, because that's fantastic. All right. Well, Acre for the win. So next week, what will we look at? Now, keep in mind we got the holidays in here, so that could totally mess up my schedule. But next week, it's going to be Devil's River faces Oak and Eden Rye and Rar. So that's what we've got lined up for next time, whether it's next week or a couple of weeks, I don't know, during the holiday period, who knows. Well, this is Stab the Dragon Productions out here.